Hello and welcome back to Koala Moon, children's bedtime stories and meditations designed to make bedtime a dream. This is Koko Celebrates Midsummer by Sarah Kate Howarth. It was a warm, sunny day at Sleepy Forest Elementary School, and sunbeams sparkled in through the window pane, pooling onto the classroom carpet like honey spilled from a jar. The pupils sat cross-legged, gazing up at their teacher, Mrs. Merryfeathers. The warm-natured owl was smiling, a kindly wing draped around the shy shoulders of a new student. Now then, children, I want you all to say hello to Eleanora the baby elk. Hello, Eleanora, the classmates chorused, leaning forward slightly to get a better look at their new chum. Many of them have never met an elk before, but she looked like a little silky moose. Eleanora is brand new to Sleepy Forest, so you must all do your very best to make her feel welcome. She's come ever such a long way. Why don't you tell the class where you've moved from, Eleanora? Eleanora smiled nervously and wrinkled her velvet nose. Her pointy ears stood high up on her delicate head, twitching this way and that as she glanced around the classroom. Her eyes gleamed a deep mahogany brown, and her caramel coat was speckled with flecks of cream. As she stood in front of the blackboard, her knees trembled a little, and she shifted about on her hooves hesitantly. From the front row, Koko smiled up at Eleanora encouragingly. It sure was scary starting a brand new school, where you didn't know anybody. He wanted to make sure she knew it would all be okay. Eleanora caught sight of Koko's warm gaze and immediately felt better. He looked friendly and kind. Her heart stopped fluttering like a flustered flamingo, and she took a deep breath of cool air. "I've moved from Sweden," she announced. "Oh," breathed Prickles the hedgehog. "I've always wanted to go to Sweden. Do you like cinnamon buns, Eleanora?" Eleanora looked over at the cheerful hedgehog, sat next to Koko, a bemused expression on her face. "Sure," she replied, shrugging her shoulders. "They're okay. But I prefer cardamom ones. Really, they're much nicer." Prickles' mouth puckered into the shape of a polo mint. He'd never even heard of a cardamom bun. Eleanora was obviously very stylish indeed. "Oh, yes, me too," he mumbled, hoping he sounded convincing. "Much nicer." Mrs. Merryfeathers smiled and gestured to her pupils to make room on the carpet for their new classmate. Koko and Prickles shuffled along, and Eleanora sat down gracefully beside them, tucking her legs up beneath her body. She smiled at Koko with eyes as warm as hot chocolate. Koko blushed a little bit. Eleanora was very pretty indeed. He saw Prickles looking at him curiously, and he quickly looked back at Mrs. Merryfeathers, his cheeks gleaming a telltale red. At break time, Alice the alpaca rushed over to Eleanora, a million questions perched on the tip of her tongue. "What's Sweden like, Eleanora? Is it awfully cold? Is it true that it goes dark at 3 p.m? Eleanora shook her head as a crowd began to assemble around her. "Only in winter. In summer, it stays light practically all night long." "Wow," Alice sighed dreamily. "That means you could stay up super late if you wanted to." "You've got lovely fur, Eleanora," breathed Daphne the duckling. "It's so shiny." Eleanora smiled and blushed, a ripple of pink curling around her cheeks. "Thanks," she said. "You have nice feathers." Daphne screwed up her face and honked. "Don't be silly," she chortled. "I'm a duckling. My feathers are all boring and grey at the moment. But you just wait till I'm grown up. I'm going to have the most fabulous feathers in all of Sleepy Forest." Daphne stretched out her wings and paraded around the playground like a princess, swishing her feathers this way and that. Her classmates cheered. Daphne was certainly not lacking in confidence. As they headed back into class for their final lesson of the day, Koko fell into step beside Eleanora. He caught her eye, and she gazed down quickly at the tarmac, smiling. He opened his mouth, but found his tongue was all dry, and what's more, he couldn't think of a single thing to say. He swallowed and gnawed on his bottom lip. Eleanora looked at him sneakily from underneath her long eyelashes. He had to say something. "What are you doing after school?" he croaked, his voice sounding oddly loud in the summer afternoon air. Eleanora giggled and shimmied her feet in the dust. "Well," she said, "it's Midsummer today, you see." "Midsummer? What's that?" Eleanor stopped in her tracks, her mouth falling open in surprise. "Don't tell me you've never heard of Midsummer," she spluttered. Koko's cheeks grew ever more crimson, and the tips of his ears prickled with heat. Well, no," he stammered apologetically. "Sorry." Eleanora couldn't believe it. Not only was Midsummer an extremely important celebration in Sweden, but it was also her favourite day of the year. "Goodness me!" she exclaimed. "Well then, you have to come to my house after school. We're having a traditional midsummer celebration, you see, and back in Sweden, I always used to invite a friend from school along. And now, well, I don't have any friends, not yet anyway, unless—" She gazed at Koko hopefully. His face somersaulted into the biggest smile, taking over his entire face. "I'll be your friend," he grinned. "That is, if you want me to be." Eleanor nodded, a smile settling across her delicate features. "Then it's settled. You'll come to my house after school." She skipped her way back into the classroom merrily. Just as she got to the doorway, she paused, glancing back over her shoulder. "Oh, Koko, I almost forgot. You know how to dance around a maypole, right?" Koko froze. He wasn't the best dancer, it had to be said, and he'd never even heard of a maypole. But he was so eager to accept Eleanora's invitation, he found himself nodding back fervently in response. "Oh, yes," he replied. "Easy peasy lemon squeezy." Eleanora clapped her hooves together in glee. "Wonderful!" she exclaimed, and she disappeared through the doorway. Koko's tummy began to feel all peculiar, as if he had swallowed a dragonfly. He was a little uneasy about the prospect of dancing in front of Eleanora. Kira always said he had 2 left feet, and he was a little nervous about breaking the news to his mum, who would be waiting at the school gates for him as usual. He normally wasn't allowed to just disappear off to his friends' houses after school at the drop of a hat, but he couldn't miss out. Not when he had the chance to experience a real midsummer party. From the way Eleanora spoke about it, he knew it would be just magical. And so he squashed the worries down to the bottom of his mind and ventured into the classroom, full of anticipation for what was to come. As the pupils tumbled out of the school gates, Eleanora took a hold of Koko's paw. "Come on," she coaxed, her eyes gleaming with delight. "Let's go find my family, Koko." "Oh, yes. Well, the thing is," Koko faltered. He didn't want to disappoint his new friend. "What is it?" Eleanora stopped abruptly, her eyes full of concern. Her voice grew soft and plaintive. "Don't you want to come anymore?" "Oh, I do," Koko protested. "I really do." His cheeks grew warm. "It's just, I need to ask my mum if it's okay first." Eleanora threw back her head and laughed heartily. "Oh, Koko, you silly Billy. Of course you need to ask permission." Koko shuffled his feet, feeling a little foolish. "Oh, okay, good. I just thought you might think it was a bit, babyish." Eleanora smiled kindly. "Let's go find our parents and introduce them. I'm sure that will make your mum feel less worried." Koko beamed. That sounded like a wonderful plan. "Okay, Eleanora," he chirped. His eyes scanned the crowd of parents, waiting at the edge of the playground to collect their offspring. His eyes fell on his mother, who was standing talking to a couple Koko had never seen before. 2 bunnies, one with fur the colour of fresh snowfall, and one whose fur was a charcoal grey. "There they are! Mum, Dad!" Eleanora tore off across the playground, her hooves clattering as she whizzed over to the bunny rabbits, diving into their arms affectionately. "Ah, Eleanora, how was your first day at school?" the snow-white bunny asked, her whiskers fluttering as she smiled down at her daughter. "Great! Look, here's my new friend, Koko." Koko came shuffling over and smiled up at his own mother. "Koko, these are our new neighbours who've just moved over from Sweden. Birgit, the bunny, and Rasmus, the rabbit. And I see you've already met Eleanora, the baby elk." Koko and Eleanora blinked at one another in disbelief. Not only were they classmates, they were neighbours. How lucky was that? "Hello, Koko's mum. It's nice to meet you. I wondered if it might be okay if Koko came to play this afternoon and stayed for tea. You see, it's midsummer and we need extras for the Maypole dance." Koko's mum looked down at her son quizzically. Koko blinked back up at her innocently. "Please, Mum? If it's okay with you?" His mother smiled, her cheeks puckering into dimples. "If it's all right with Eleanora's parents, then it's all right with me. But I'll come and pick you up at 7 p.m. sharp. It is a school night after all." The bunnies smiled and assured Koko's mum that it would be a pleasure to have Koko join their midsummer celebration. And so they made their way down the path and into the forest, the grown-ups walking along together and chattering, and Koko and Eleanora skipping on ahead. As it turns out, Eleanora's house was just a few doors down from Koko's cosy cabin. It had walls the colour of magnolia blossom and a sloping red roof. "Here we are," announced Birgit cheerfully, swinging open the little wooden gate and revealing a front garden bursting with wildflowers in full bloom. "Come on in, Koko." Koko looked up at his mother, and she nodded encouragingly. "I'll bring Kira along to pick you up later. Enjoy yourself, Koko." "Who's Kira?" Eleanora asked inquisitively. "She's my baby sister," explained Koko, his voice growing warm and affectionate, the way it always did when he spoke about his younger sibling. Eleanora smiled. "You're so lucky, Koko. I've always wanted a sister. I can't wait to meet her." Koko's heart wriggled inside his chest, full of contentment. "Bye, Mum," he called, following Eleanora down the garden path, amidst the brightly coloured dahlias and gigantic sunflowers that lined the way. Rasmus hopped up onto the front porch and smiled down at the children. "Are you all ready for some midsummer magic?" he teased, his eyes full of promises. "Yes," they called. Birgit sprang forwards to join her husband and beckoned them in closer. "First up, we need to dress the Maypole." Eleanora gave an excited little squeak. "That means we need armfuls and armfuls of foliage. Wild ferns, leaves, branches, blossoms and flowers, you name it. Let's all take a basket and gather as much as we can carry from the forest floor." Birgit handed Koko a little wicker basket with a blue bow on the front of it. He smiled, his favourite colour. Meanwhile, Eleanora had scooped up hers with a ribbon the colour of Satsuma's trailing from the handle. "Is orange your favourite colour, Eleanora?" Koko asked, following her down the path and out into the fringes of the forest. Eleanora nodded. "Yep, it reminds me of the sunset." Koko smiled. What a lovely image. Amber, apricot and mandarin sunbeams settling on the horizon in a sizzling haze. But there was no time to lose to daydreaming. Eleanora was already casting an eager eye across the forest floor, scooping bilberry branches and bundles of blossom into her basket. "Come on, Koko," she insisted, pressing wispy tufts of cotton grass into his palm. "We need to gather the greenery." Koko nodded and began to extend an arm to a nearby bush, awash with emerald leaves and delicate lilac flowers. But Eleanora shook her head solemnly. "Oh, sorry, Koko. I forgot to tell you the most important rule. You must only gather from the forest floor. We don't want to take anything that's still growing. So no pinching anything that's still attached to its source, okay?" Koko's paw wavered. The lilac flowers looked so tempting, shaking softly in the soft breath of the evening. But Eleanora was right. He shouldn't pick something that was still growing. And so, joining his friend, he began to scan the forest floor, and his eyes alighted on a beautiful garland of elderflower. "Look," he whispered, holding the spindly branch up to the light, so that golden sunlight splayed through the pale petals. Eleanora helped Koko stow the elderflower carefully in his basket. "That's a great find, Koko. It will look so pretty on the maypole." "Eleanora," Koko hesitated. Eleanora bent down to pick up some more cotton grass with her teeth. "What is it, Koko?" she asked through a mouthful of fluff. Well, I just wondered, what is a maypole?" Eleanora began to cough and splutter, spitting out the cotton grass with an indignant hiccup. "Koko, I forgot. This is your very first Midsummer. Let's go back to the garden. I'll show you what a maypole is. Come on. Koko and Eleanora grabbed their baskets, which were now overflowing with greenery, and hurried back, weaving their way through the tree trunks until they were back at Eleanora's front gate. Eleanora! Koko! It's time! Birgit's voice rang out sweetly. Coming! Answered Eleanora, prancing round the back of the house. Koko dutifully followed suit. As they made their way across the neatly manicured lawn, Koko's breath caught in his mouth. The little back garden was overflowing with strawberry bushes. Little droplets of ruby-red fruit hung like baubles on a Christmas tree, sparkling and gleaming amidst the green leaves. Eleanora caught Koko looking and laughed. We'll have some later, she whispered gleefully. They are perfectly ripe and so sweet, like sherbet. Birgit and Rasmus were standing by a tall pole with garlands and wreaths trailing down from the uppermost point. Eleanora gestured towards it proudly. The Maypole, she announced, trotting over and gazing up at the magnificent structure. Now we add our greenery, Koko. It symbolizes new life and growth. And so, Eleanora and Koko set to work attaching their findings onto the maypole, with a little help from her parents, of course. Soon, the maypole was entirely covered with leaves, flowers, stems, vines, blossoms, berries, herbs, petals, twigs, branches, and other scraps of foliage. They stood back to observe their hard work, panting slightly from all the effort. It looked sensational. Is it time to dance now? Asked Koko nervously, his knees beginning to tremble a little. Eleanora laughed. Oh no, we have to eat first. It's time for the midsummer picnic. Koko's belly rumbled in anticipation. He was more than a little peckish after all that foraging. What do you eat at a midsummer picnic? He asked, licking his lips giddily. Eleanora tugged on her friend's paw. Come see for yourself. She led Koko to a sunny little patch of lawn, where a picnic rug lay spread over the soft grass, laden with a terrific feast. Slices of rye bread stacked high on elegant china plates, slices of fresh salmon sprinkled with dill, piles and piles of buttery potatoes, and dozens of the ripest strawberries, freckled with little yellow seeds. What's that? Asked Koko, pointing at a plate of sparkling silver swirls. My favourite, pickled herring. Eleanora helped herself to a great big serving, scooped onto a slice of seeded rye bread. The family settled down and chomped their way through the delicious dinner. Koko was a little nervous to try the pickled herring, but he ate his way through a mountain of strawberries, and Rasmus poured him a glass of refreshing, homemade lemonade, which tickled his taste buds like a feather. Would you like to try a cardamom bun, Koko? Birgit asked, wafting a fragrant tray of freshly baked buns under his nose. Koko reached out eagerly and bit into the golden swirl. He said, savouring the sweet, floral taste. Just wait till Prickles heard that he tried one. Once they'd all finished eating and their tummies were full of delicious food, they lay back on the picnic rug, and gazed at the summer sky overhead. Clouds drifted like dandelions, and the soft summer breeze tickled their chins like fingertips. Rasmus picked up his guitar and began to strum a gentle melody. It was time for dancing. As Eleanora sprang to her feet, Koko gulped. "I'm actually feeling a little bit full," he began as she pulled him by the paw towards the towering maypole. "Don't be silly, Koko. You'll be fine. Follow me." The four of them gathered in a ring and joined hands. Then, led by Eleanora, they began to circle the maypole, first skipping to the left, then swishing to the right. Koko's eyes grew wide with concentration, but somewhat miraculously, his feet managed to keep in time. He was tipping and tapping his way along, just like the others, without missing a beat. "You're a natural," laughed Eleanora, twirling under his arm like a ballerina. He whirled around and around the marvelous maypole as the family sang a gentle, lilting folk song together. Welcome the summertime, bringing new life. Welcome the strawberries, bursting so ripe. Welcome the wild flowers, bringing cheer. Welcome midsummer, every year. As the evening drew on, Rasmus continued to play melodies on the guitar, and Birgit lit a cosy campfire to ward off the chill, as twilight fell upon sleepy forest. Eleanora gathered a long branch from the leftover piles of foliage, and the two of them took it in turns to toast marshmallows in the glowing embers of the fire. Koko smiled shyly at his new friend. "Eleanora?" "Yes?" "Thanks for inviting me to your midsummer celebration. I've had the most magical time." Eleanora beamed. "You're welcome, Koko. You were the perfect dance partner. I'm so glad you could join us." She yawned, her eyelids flickering as the bonfire burned by their feet. "Ooh, all that dancing has gotten me worn out," she sighed, snuggling into her mum's fluffy fur. Her parents smiled down at their daughter. "You've had a big day, Nora. Starting at a new school isn't an easy thing to do." Birgit the bunny stroked her daughter's brow lovingly. "And you've managed to make a friend already," added Rasmus the rabbit, smiling over at Koko. Koko nodded. "Yes," he added enthusiastically. "You have. I am." Eleanora slipped her hand into Koko's paw and squeezed it softly. "I am too," she whispered gladly. "Your friend, I mean." "Hello." Just then Koko's mother's friendly voice came drifting over the hedgerow like a butterfly. "Koko." Another voice joined in the chorus, soft and sweet, like syrup. "Kira!" Koko's face lit up with joy. The evening had flown by. He couldn't believe it was time to go home already. He smiled as he watched Kira totter down the garden path, her eyes growing wide as she took in the scene. The majestic maypole, the swathes of wildflowers, and the campfire crackling. "Wow," she breathed, awestruck. "Hello, Kira," Eleanora murmured sleepily. "I'm Eleanora. I just moved here from Sweden. Koko's told me all about you. You'll have to come and play next time, too." Kira's eyes sparkled with delight. "I'd love to," she breathed. "Come on, you two," their mother called. "It's getting late, and Eleanora looks ever so tired." It was true. Eleanora was tucked tightly into her mother's side, basking in the warmth of the fireside, her eyes drooping drowsily. "Bye, Eleanora," said Koko. "Thanks for having me," he added, nodding politely at Eleanora's parents. "I loved the midsummer party, the Maypole, the dancing, the picnic." He yawned dozily. "Come on, sleepyhead. Time to get you all tucked up." Koko took a hold of Kira's paw, and they slowly made their way back up the garden path. Kira looked up at her big brother inquisitively. "What's a maypole, Koko?" "Just you wait, Kira. Let's get into our pajamas and brush our teeth, then I'll tell you all about it once we're tucked up in bed. I promise." Meanwhile, the flames of the campfire grew tame and subdued. Moonlight spilled into the night sky, showering the maypole with sparkling silver sheets and signalling the end of a magical midsummer evening. Now we're floating into a deep and peaceful sleep. Feel how your muscles are relaxing. Your arms are heavy and your legs are too, as they loosen and release any tension remaining from the day. Feel how you let your body fall into the cozy warmth of your bed. Close your eyes. Let your eyelids be heavy. Breathe deeply. Breathe in and out. Breathe in and out as you continue to breathe deeply, and as you keep feeling how your body becomes soft and heavy with sleep. Let your mind drift away. That is the wonderful secret about sleep. While your body rests, lying heavily in your bed, your mind is set free, like a bird taking flight from a branch and flying up and up and up into the air. Feel how your mind loosens now, like a balloon that has been untied from a fence, and floats up and up and up like a bird. Up and up and up it floats towards the sky, until it reaches up into the clouds. Imagine that you have risen up high above the world and your head has poked up through the clouds. Then spread out all around you in the silvery moonlight, white fluffy clouds that look like cotton wool or marshmallows. They look so soft and squishy. You can lie back on them and roll around in them. Try it now. Lie back in the soft cradle of the clouds Feel how they swirl and wrap around your body, holding you gently in the world of sleep. Clouds come in all shapes and sizes. Some are big and fluffy, some are slender wisps. Some look like puffy mushrooms, and others look like paintbrush strokes that have been left on the dark sky. Let your body relax. Let your mind relax too. Let your mind float off into sleep. You are peaceful. You are safe. You are being held in the cozy warmth of sleep. With your eyes closed, let your mind drift up, up, up and away. In the world of dreams, you can go anywhere you like. You can float on blue oceans with ripples and tufts of waves. Or you can visit castles built in the sky with spiraling turrets and drawbridges over sparkling moats. Or you can wander into the peaceful woods where the birds are twittering and the trees are dense with dark green leaves. Breathe in and out. Breathe in and out again as you fall more deeply into your cozy sleep. And with your eyes still closed, take a look around with your mind at where your dreams have taken you. When I fall asleep, I dream that I've gone to a world high up in the clouds. Sometimes the clouds are dappled silver from the moonlight. Sometimes they're soft pink and gold, reflecting the light of the twinkling stars. What form do your dreams take? Where does your mind go when you fall asleep? Maybe in your dreams there are flocks of white fluffy sheep huddling together on the green fields. Look at the mother ewe yawn widely before she tucks her little lambs beneath her woolly fleece. Or maybe you dream of a friendly dragon, curled up with his tail wrapped around him, a little trail of clouds puffing out of his nostrils. Look, the cloud dragon is smiling at us and waving. What a friendly dragon he is. Or maybe you dream of cute puppies lying on their backs, their tongues lolling out of their mouths, their eyes closing because they've had such a long day. They look tired, and there's their papa dog, fluffy and white, padding softly over to wish the puppies good night. Up here on the sea of clouds, you can be free. Feel how light you are, weightless, floating, drifting through sleep. Feel everything heavy from the day lift off you and drift away, taken away by currents until they disappear over the bank of clouds. Any worries you have been having watch them float away. Anything that has been weighing on your mind during the daytime, now you can let them go and watch them drift away. Your worries are not you. You are not your worries. You can let them go. Watch them float away. Now you are light as air. You are as gentle as starlight. You are as soft as the clouds. Up in the sleepy sky, everything is weightless and peaceful. The clouds stretch out like a sea of tranquility. Close your eyes and feel the clouds wrap around you. Feel them bearing your body gently into the land of sleep. Feel your eyes close. Feel them rest heavily as your body relaxes into sleep. Feel your mind lighten. Feel it loosen and drift away, light as a feather, soft as the clouds. Breathe in and out. Breathe in and out. The world of clouds is waiting for you. Let yourself fall into the clouds' soft, warm hug. They are here to protect you. They are here to cushion you. They are here to hold you as you enjoy your deep and peaceful sleep. Sleep well, little one. Sleep well in the land of clouds. Feel how light you are. Feel how weightless, floating, drifting through sleep. Light as air, gentle as starlight, soft as clouds. Good night, little one.